WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and I've got a special brother, friend in with me this morning. He is back, the famous, the talented, most intelligent, the question-asking, the penetrating critiquer.
Oh, my God.
Norman Robinson.
This is insufferable. You ought to quit. That is just too much energy for me. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well, hey, look, it's a good morning show. People
Absolutely.
don't expect you to come on and say, I want to go back to bed. They trying to get up, just like I had to get up, except I get up earlier than most of them. So.
You certainly get up earlier than me. There's no question about that.
Well, Norman, the good Lord woke me up this morning and blessed me with another day. I am so thankful for that. That's one of the things that our WBOK Good Morning audience of listeners know I say every day because I mean it.
Absolutely.
I mean it. You know, at this age and stage.
Another day is another opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so he planted my feet on the floor, made sure I got on over to this Black Talk radio station where I could be with you and Jared behind the window and our WBOK family of listeners. Hey, look, I know we get out earlier than a lot of you, but if you haven't been out already, it's about 82 degrees. And it's already feeling like 90 degrees.
Well,
and
that's New
at
Orleans.
this 7 o'clock in the morning. But here's the good news.
Typical.
Here's the good news. 7 o'clock on into the afternoon, yes, the temperature will be rising into the 90s, which means to feel like it's going to be closer to 105, 106, 107. Well, 97. And then it's going to be over 100, feel like.
Oh, yeah.
There's
no question about that.
Yep.
The feel liking is definitely intense.
Yeah, so, you do what you want, but I think this is a good day for a shower or bath. because when you get out there, I tell you, it might not take 2 hours before you have some sweating and function.
With the humidity factor, you could just take your soap with you and just lather up while you're on your walk outside. Because I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of perspiration.
Absolutely. So bright and sunny out there. How was your drive in, Mr. Robinson?
It was quite mild and uneventful, which is what I like early in the morning. I'm adverse to the rush hour traffic.
Yep.
In fact, it scares me.
Right.
Because people are crazy.
Absolutely.
They are absolutely wild behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They're texting, they're talking. They're actually looking at their phone while they're driving. In fact, 2 Fridays ago, some kid was on his phone doing TikTok and ran into the back of my SUV and demolished it.
What?
Yes, absolutely. I get out of the car and he recognized me. And he goes, Mr. Robinson, I'm so sorry. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I said, I guess you weren't. I guess you weren't.
Ran into the back.
Absolutely. Didn't slam on brakes. Didn't do anything.
Full
but just
speed ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like he hit me so hard. I was wearing a hat and I had my sunroof open, right? I was wearing a hat and the hat flew off my head and stuck in the sunroof. That's how
Whoa.
hard. That's how hard he hit me.
Oh my goodness.
So, needless to say, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous about driving in traffic.
Wow.
So just folks, just pay attention out there because you got to drive for yourself and for the other people who are not paying attention.
Yeah, you got to be a
There are just too
defensive.
many distracted
Got to
drivers
be
on the road.
a defensive driver out there, and it's just too important because there are lots of people, and they're not just on their phones.
No.
They're putting on makeup.
Oh
They're
yeah.
trimming.
What do they call that?
trimming.
They call that for the women. They call that farthing.
Yes.
They call that farthing. They're doing
Yep.
this farthing thing.
Yep. Yep.
Combing
And-
the hair and,
and,
eyelashes.
Yep,
and-
yep. We got some
Yeah.
brothers tending to their mustaches and beards and all that kind of thing. And it's
Passed by
like,
one guy. He was shaving.
yeah,
Had an
right.
electric razor.
Jeez.
He was all about hygiene, though.
Oh,
To hell
boy.
with the safe driving, but he was all about the hygiene.
Wow. Well, we got quite a show for you today. And of course, if it's Thursday on the Good Morning Show, if you listen regularly, you know what day it is. Thursday on the Good Morning Show, we're going to hear from none other than our very own Congressman Troy Carter. So we're expecting him to call in and find out some things that are big in the news and also find out about some things that maybe not getting as much attention compared to normal reports nationally, locally, or otherwise.
Yeah, he's quite prolific, though. He was in
He
Maine
is.
the other day,
Yes.
testifying about the ICE shooting that occurred in that state.
Yep.
And I think that people are beginning to take notice of his of the depth and breadth of his leadership and his statesmanship
Yes.
and the issues that he brings clarity to, and he just speaks with so much sense and so much respectful tone when he's addressing issues. He never gets too excited. Not unlike me, he never gets too excited. He never loses his temper, and he's always on point. And we certainly do appreciate him for that. And I think that will help him in his quest to become leader of the Black Congressional Caucus.
Yep. Absolutely. Positively. So, hey, look, a few days ago, we had most unfortunate news with a young person who at the time we weren't aware of who he was. There was no identity. Then the young man was identified as a Belle Chase High School senior, 17 years
Yeah.
old.
Jacques Saint Anne is his name. Was his name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jacques Saint Anne, 17 years old, and he fell to his death during what a number of young people, and not just teens, do go into vacant buildings and see what's around,
Well, that's awfully
exploring.
It's awfully tempting
Yeah.
because what you want to do, basically, I've often wanted to just go in that building to see what it actually looks like, because it's been abandoned in an eyesore since 2002, when the state welfare office employees moved out of that building because of the mold and the asbestos. And the question has been, why is it so difficult to renovate that building? Because it's filled with mold and asbestos, and that's an expensive undertaking if you're talking about renovating something of that magnitude. And that was actually that building was the first high rise in the city of New Orleans. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, and it's been out of commission for years and years and years.
yes, since 2002,
Mhm.
and there have been just a phalanx of developers who talked about converting that building, renovating it, and either into office space or apartments. but none of that has panned out. None of that has come to fruition. But the question, it is the um, responsibility of the private owners to secure that building.
Hmm.
But then there's also a question about governmental responsibility.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Well, I looked at a number of media outlets as this was covered, and as you well know, there are reports, then there are better reports, and I really thought that WWL did a good job of summarizing events with this unfortunate death, but also kind of a bit of history of the Plaza Tower. So I thought we'd share that with you today, courtesy WWL.
It's an eyesore on the city's skyline, standing high above the majority of the Crescent City. Plaza Tower was intended to be innovative, one of the tallest buildings in the state. But now it's notorious for its crumbling infrastructure, dangerous conditions, and unfortunately, the deaths of several people, including 17-year-old Jacques St. Anne from Belle Chase.
This is truly a tragic incident.
The skyscraper opened in 1969, but issues arose quickly. Tenants complained about asbestos and toxic mold. It was vacant before Hurricane Katrina. It's changed hands several times. Then in 2014, developer Joe Yeager bought the property. In the past few years, issues with the building have seemingly ramped up. The building has become more dilapidated. Even in just the past 5 years, the city has seemingly tried to get some action on the property, issuing Yeager fines, a court order to demolish the building, placing it on the Dirty Dozen list, and even trying to work with Yeager to redevelop it.
It needs to be acted on immediately.
But potential sales of the building have stopped the city from being able to tear it down.
We do not shy away from challenges. We face them to fix them, but in a concerted effort that focuses on solution.
Plus, there's the cost.
We're not going to use $27 million of taxpayers' dollars to bail out a private owner.
Recently in 2025, there was a deal in the works with developer Lincoln Avenue Capital to turn it into an assisted living facility. Then in June of this year, our partners at NOLA.com reported the firm was still working to secure the funding. According to records with the Secretary of State's office, Yeager's company, Alexandria Land and Development, was still listed as the owner. So why is it so hard to do anything? Back in 2019, Press Kabikoff with HRI Property said the scale of these large buildings makes it difficult.
You need to have a vision, but then you need to work your ass off to accomplish it.
And in the 7 years since we spoke with him, it seems not much has changed. Alyssa Curtis, WWL, Louisiana.
So there you have. I thought that was a pretty good summary.
Oh, it was a great summary because it categorized where the problem started and why the issue exists in the state and condition that it currently exists in, and it talked about the city's responsibility and the challenges that the city's facing. That $27 to $28 million price tag of what it would cost to demolish the building. That's especially critical now since the city is hemorrhaging, at its revenue. Largesse,
Yeah,
which is
right.
It's really a situation where the city doesn't really have the money to tear that building down. But it's clear that something has to be done because this situation is not going to get any better. And we talk about the proposal to turn it into apartments. The present owner, I think, is hoping to do something with it in next year, in 2027 sometime. But that's just a proposal, and we have to realize the fact that proposals don't secure buildings.
Right.
They don't remove the hazardous condition that exists there. So we're at a situation where now the police have to constantly patrol the property to make sure that that nobody goes in there, and um, the private owners now have to do a better job of securing that building because I think there was a fence that had a big hole in it that the kids were able to gain access to the building. So we have a large problem with blighted property in the city of New Orleans because I don't know if you remember, but there was this building that looks like a silo
Oh yeah, yeah.
next to the convention center.
Yes,
A
right.
kid went in there and fell down
Mhm.
to his death.
Mhm.
So this is a big problem for the city.
Right, and specific to the Plaza Tower, there were panels that. That's the other thing. The thing's falling apart.
Well,
There
yeah.
were there were panels that fell from the building. And
Well, that
struck a
happened.
bicyclist
Yeah.
in 20.
That was in May.
21.
That was in May of 2021.
Right.
This bicyclist was riding by the building, and a piece of material fell off the building, hit the bicyclist, and injured him.
Yeah.
And then in January of 2022, firefighters answered a two-alarm blaze at that structure, and investigators discovered that there were multiple points of origin. And in January of 2023, more debris fell from the tower. In April of 2023, firefighters were called to the building again. And on April 24th, in 2023, a homeless man fell to his death in that building.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So the question is, I mean, how long are we going to allow this situation to exist?
Right. Absolutely. Well, I reached out to the New Orleans Police Department for an update from their vantage point, and obviously this is much larger than the police department.
Oh yeah, no question about that.
But I wanted to know what are they thinking now, and if they have any tips or thoughts about safety with the Plaza Tower and buildings like it. So I thank Officer Reese Harper, who's Director of Communications for the New Orleans Police Department, who did respond, and this is what he shared. First, our condolences to the family of Jacques St. Anne. No parent should have to get that call, and our hearts are with them. With that said, here's what every family in this city needs to hear right now. The Plaza Tower has no power, no lighting, and unstable stairwells that will fail. In dark, you won't see the danger until it's too late. Vacant high rises like this get treated like a dare or a photo op. They're not. They're structurally unsound, and that's not a risk worth taking. Parents, a quick ask. Know where your teenager is, not because anyone did something wrong, but because this kind of tragedy happens fast, and usually late at night. Usually when a group of friends makes one decision together that none of them would make alone. It's not just Plaza Tower. Every boarded up building should be considered a hazard. There's potential collapsed floors, exposed rebar, bad air. If it's fenced off, there's a reason. See somebody messing with that fence line? Call it in. We have got patrols out there right now, but we can't be everywhere. A quick call might save a life. Call 911 or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 504 822 1111.
Yeah, but we are at a situation where we arrive at a crisis, we discuss it, it makes news for a while, and then it goes dark. We don't hear anything until the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, is there something that can be done between the city and the private developer where they can come together with a plan to tear that darn thing down? Because it's obviously a dangerous threat to the public at large, and there's no getting around it. Something has to be done, and it is the ultimate responsibility of the private developer to make sure that that building is secure and safe, and it is also the responsibility of the city to see to it that that building is safe and secure.
Yeah. I know he might not like it, but with the number of events that, and these are just events in the recent past that you identified. There have been others.
No, absolutely.
There have been others. It seems to me this is a moment where the owner should come out of the dark and speak to this issue.
Oh, the situation warrants
it. It is his responsibility, not the city's, for maintaining this dilapidated building, creating accidents of all kinds, and now multiple deaths.
No question about it. It's his responsibility.
There is the police department role. There's the fire department role. There's security. And there's the opportunity for the city hall, the mayor and her administration, city council. But he has a responsibility. They're talking about it. He needs to talk about it too.
Absolutely. But I suspect that there's some legal concerns that might be lurking somewhere in the background.
I think you might be right, but I'm sorry. You need to find a way around that and speak to the death of this young man.
No question about it. It warrants it.
All right, folks, we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from none other than Congressman Troy Carter.
Congressman TAC.
Yeah. All right. So, Norman, what's the talk line number in case somebody wants to call us sometime during the show or maybe ask the congressman a question?
504-582-9422. Call us and talk with us.
This is WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are your Thursday morning headlines for you. Today, the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District Board will meet amid growing backlash over a concert at the Superdome. The Jewish community is calling for accountability as Kanye West is set to perform next week. In a letter sent to the board and Legends Global, who manages Dome operations, the Jewish Federation of Greater New Orleans claims the artist has repeatedly spread anti-Semitic messages. They say that they have been in conversation to make sure venue leadership and event staff are trained and that it does not include hateful rhetoric. The concert is set for August 28th. Family and friends of Nolan Wells honored his life on what would have been his 19th birthday. A prayer rally was held last night in Biloxi for the teen who was found dead after a boating trip with friends last month. 2 autopsies have not provided a definitive explanation of what caused his death. And new progress made on a project that has caused frustration for many French Quarter business owners. The Sewage and Water Board posted some pictures of new pavement along Decatur Street. The Sewage and Water Board says a contractor is continuing sidewalk restoration in that area. The project has been at the center of a lawsuit, and businesses say it's come at a big cost. And that is a look for you at your Thursday morning.
Be sure to join us Thursday morning on the front porch as WBOK's very own Wendell Pierce, in conjunction with the New Orleans Film Society, will be here to discuss his new movie, They Fight. Don't miss out on this exclusive interview with Wendell as he discusses the movie and other projects he is working on. It all goes down on the front porch Thursday morning on WBLK.
It's time to lock in.
Yes, Coach.
Let's get it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
I'm Angelica Harris, a proud New Orleans native and founder of Top Tutors for Us. In high school, I raised my ACT score from a 60 to a 32 and earned more than $1.5 million in scholarship offers. Now, our award-winning platform connects Black students with tutors who look like them, from leading universities like Xavier and Tulane. Your child can achieve that same success. Visit TopTutorsForUs.com and follow Top Tutors for Us on social media. Built for our students by us.
Step back into time and experience the moments that shaped our world at the National World War II Museum. This world-renowned museum brings history to life, telling the stories of the American experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. From immersive exhibits to powerful personal stories, this is more than a museum. Go to nationalww2museum.org and plan your visit today.
This summer, the place to be is downtown. From incredible restaurants and shopping to retail, wellness, and so much more. Enjoy special offers and discounts from participating downtown businesses all season long. Brought to you by the Downtown Development District. Whether it's after work, date night, or weekend fun, there's always something happening downtown. Plan your next outing at participating locations like Coppervine, Mother's, the Audubon Aquarium, and Riverwalk Outlets. Visit downtownnola.com. Summer starts here.
What if you could pull up a chair at the same table as your doctors? Join me, Kimber White Dupree, as I welcome board-certified physicians, Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlonda Rayno Harris. For Table Rounds, we're bringing those meaningful medical conversations out of the hospital and into our community. Health topics that matter most, from the health disparities and menopause to mental health and much more. Table Rounds with Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlonda Rayno Harris. Every fourth Monday at 10 a.m. on the front porch, because better conversations lead to better health.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Comparing the cost of will, successions, and trusts.
A will might only be a few $100s, but your family could end up paying more in legal fees.
Trust costs more upfront, but saves time, stress, and potentially thousands.
Think of it as paying a little now to avoid a big bill later. Smart planning means big savings for your family. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hear that? That's Alka-Seltzer, the sound of fast heartburn relief. Because when heartburn hits, you want something that works fast. Quick! Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets start neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Next time, when that burning feeling comes on strong, don't wait. Quick! Alka-Seltzer. Try Alka-Seltzer. Use as directed.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another heat advisory today as highs reach 94 to 99 degrees, filling up to 112, which is why we're under a WDSU first warning weather impact day. There's also a chance for a few scattered showers in the afternoon. Tonight, lows fall to 74 to 80 degrees. For Friday, highs reach 94 to 100, with a much better chance for storms after 4 p.m. More 90s are expected for the weekend. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Reshaw.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. And I'm Will Sutton here with Norman Robinson. All right.
Good morning.
He's a special person, but we got a more special person on.
Special in what sense?
Yeah,
Will?
right. Well, we're going to jump into conversation with a super special person.
That's what I'm talking
None
about.
other than our nationally known, nationally respected, nationally appreciated congressman from our district number 2.
The bon vivant, the raconteur.
All right. Congressman Troy Carter. Good morning. You're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson.
Good morning, my dear brothers. I am not easily intimidated, but I've got to say, coming up against these two rock star journalists, I got to sharpen my pencil, man.
Spoken like a politician, boy. He rubs it in, doesn't he?
I got to sharpen my pencil.
Yeah, right.
This is the Black Meet the Press.
Hey, you forget we know you. We know you well.
For a very long time.
That's right.
And we're watching when you don't even know we're watching.
Absolutely. And taking notes.
Yeah, but off air,
yeah,
Norman was
yeah.
telling me about some places that you've been to, and I was like, I didn't know he was up in Maine.
Oh, yeah, he was in Maine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He was in Maine. What was that all about, Congressman?
We did a field hearing. You may have heard of Duran Guerrera, who is an individual that was unfairly targeted and unfortunately murdered by ICE.
Yeah.
We went out to have a field hearing with the governor and the congressperson from that area, Homeland Security, along with Ranking Member Benny Thompson and I, and a number of other members, to do what our Republican counterparts won't do, and that is to shed light or even talk about the atrocities of what rogue ICE agents are doing all over the country. So we had a field hearing. We had about 300 people in an auditorium. We had the family members, surviving members of Mr. Guerrera, and noted leaders, the lawyer representing the family, to come and share information that we can take back to Washington, but equally as important, that we can illuminate in the press, because no one's talking about this. ICE is looking the other way as if it doesn't happen. Our Republican counterparts refuse to have hearings, so we conducted what we refer to as a shadow hearing, which is a hearing that we do when we aren't in power. Of course, when you're the chair of a committee, you can hold actual hearings and you can call for testimony and you can subpoena, but only the party in charge gets to do that. So in the interim, when we aren't, we do shadow hearings, which don't have the same weight. We don't have subpoena powers for those, but it has the same weight as it relates to at least bringing illumination to what they hope would stay in the dark. The neighbors were very, very appreciative, and it really is demonstrative of the fact that Republicans are giving ICE a pass to break laws, to literally murder people in broad daylight. And this administration appears to be building a cadre of renegades that can operate at the president's will.
No question about it. And they've exacerbated this to the extent that they're now issuing ICE agents these electrical shock gloves that nobody seemingly talks about that much.
I just penned a letter, myself and Ranking Member Thompson, to the Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, highlighting, and I'll share with you guys a copy of it, that highlights all of our concerns about these gloves. We already know that our ICE agents are woefully ill-trained. They train approximately 47 days before getting a gun and a badge. They have next to zero background checks. Many of these people have been rejects of police departments, who have been Proud Boys, who were a part of January 6th. I mean, you know, a virtual who's who should never have a gun or a badge, are people that unfortunately are lining up and getting badges to become ICE agents. So now they're going to have, on top of the fact that they're ill-trained, they're going to have these gloves which have the ability to essentially do what a taser does, but with a touch, without any provisions on what happens if this is used on a child, what happens if this is used on a person with a heart condition, what happens if this is used on the elderly, what happens if this is used on a pregnant woman, for example. What kind of training are they going to go through? What exactly is the voltage? How do we determine if it was done appropriately or not? How do we know what the apparatus of safety to make sure that they're properly governed? Because they have different voltages. So there's just a whole lot of questions, and not to mention, now those are the ones on the public safety side. But here's the side on, a $20 million no bid contract. Once again, how much you want to bet that that's going to a buddy of Trump?
Yeah.
And maybe even a company that his kids has ownership in.
I don't doubt that.
I mean, the graph is just amazing.
I don't doubt that at all. So with the Democrats' hands being metaphorically tied behind their backs, what's to be done about all of this?
Well, we continue to do, as you've heard me say on numerous occasions, I refer to it as the 3 C's. The Congress doing everything we can, albeit limited because we don't have the votes, but we never accept that as an excuse. We fight every day. I wake up every day trying to find a new technical way or procedural way to stop them, and we've been very successful. Then when we run out of those, we turn to the courts. Unfortunately, the courts have been siding with the president more than we like, certainly the Supreme Court, but we've won a lot of battles at the lower court and appellate court. Supreme Court is where we have trouble. So the Congress, the court, and of course the third C is working with the community, utilizing the power of the press, utilizing the power of WBOK to have unfettered access to facts. That's why I enjoy coming on this show every week and giving people information, real live information from the nation's capital on what's happening. Because you can't depend on Fox News and increasingly even CNN and some of those places who are being infiltrated by this guy Ellis who wants to buy the station, and Trump is trying to corner the market and having only outlets that say what he wants said. So, making sure that we are fighting on every front, the Congress, the courts, and the community, working with community leaders, working with organizations throughout the state and the country to push back. And at the core of it all, encourage people that you've got to get out and vote. Trump is only president because we didn't vote in the numbers we needed to vote in.
How do we do that?
This man told us that he had Project 2025. He said what he would do if he got reelected. He didn't hide his hand. He shared the whole damn book.
How do we do that, Congressman? You and Lieutenant General Russell Honore are emphasizing the critical necessity for people to get out and vote, but it just seems to be falling on deaf ears. What's going on with that? I wonder. I wonder in my heart of hearts how we got so apathetic about the electoral process.
I really believe that it is a concerted effort on the other side to exasperate the apathy by infiltrating conversations to slow down voter participation. We know that they try every angle they can, and when I say they, I mean the Trump MAGA operation, to the Save America Act, to make it more difficult for you to get registered to vote. You can't give a person a bottle of water if they're standing in line.
Right.
Everything is designed to make it more difficult for you to vote. And the comment that I make to people is, if your vote was so unimportant, why would they be working so hard to discourage it.
Exactly.
If your voice was so unimportant, why are they working so hard to silence you? And so people have to recognize their power. But I think there's a concerted effort with the talking heads who are trying to infiltrate young black men. Trump says, what do you got to lose? What have you got from the party before? And all of those little subliminal, but not even subliminal, we used to say they were dog whistles, but now they're bullhorns that are going after and trying to divide us. And unfortunately, Norman, it works far too often. We know that people died. You know, we've all visited the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We've all seen and felt the eerie spirit of John Lewis being beaten, spat on, dogs and water hoses with Jim Crow, people having to pass the jelly bean test in order to vote, our great-grandparents going through atrocities because they knew how important it was to have a vote. And yet our young people and many of our older people still treat voting as a if I get around to it kind of thing. We'll go to a football game before we vote. We'll go to a Mardi Gras parade in the rain, but God, let it not be raining on Election Day. I don't know the answer to that, Norman. I wish I did. But I will tell you that a solution is us all together collectively never getting tired of preaching the gospel of you've got to get out and vote. You get 10 days. Early voting, you get 10 days. One of those days, you've got to find the time to stop by and vote. You've just got to.
Let me ask
because
you.
When we vote, we win. When we don't, we lose.
Let me ask you this question. Are the midterms elections a litmus test for black voting power?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and just like the litmus test throughout the state, the numerous tax measures and constitutional amendments that the governor put up, and they were killed, every single one. Litmus test.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jamie Davis, litmus test. Midterms, litmus test. We're showing what happens when we vote. Governor Landry was elected with a, 33% turnout?
Yeah.
33%. 67% of the people didn't vote.
Right.
My God.
Yep.
That's stunning.
I mean, you know, you think about that and you think about the gravity of elections do matter. Elections do have consequences. We see the result. And listen, I understand we got people that call on the show, and they'll probably call in today, and I respect the positions, although I disagree with them, that voting, you know, we voted before and we still haven't gotten anything. I get it. But you know what? But we can't quit. We got to just keep. You just say, that's like saying I've tried for a cure for cancer, and we haven't gotten one, so we should stop. No.
Yeah,
man.
but look at what
We've got to keep pushing. We have had progress. We still have a long way to go, but quitting is not an option. Laying down our arms is not an option. Abandoning voting is not an option. Getting involved is an option. Being vocal is an option. Participating in the process is an option. Quitting is not.
Congressman, let's talk about the Improving Care for Youth Act that you've been a part of. Our youth are our future, and let's talk about that because that hasn't been getting attention like some other things, but you're right in the midst of that.
As you know, mental health and mental health awareness and mental health resources is a space that I'm very, very active in. So I'm proud to have crafted, drafted, and introduced the Improving Coordination Access to Resource Equitably CARE Act, or otherwise known as CARE Act. Mm-hmm. And it's real simple. Under our current rules, Medicaid policy healthcare providers, they generally may only bill for one service, work one patient at a time. So if a person came in and they were identified as having a mental health crisis in addition to whatever, they send them away and they're going to come back on another day. Well, I don't need to tell you what that means for some people. because some of us only go to the hospital when we have an emergent care. So something like depression or anxiety, you blow that off when you get back home.
Yeah.
Well, what this does is gives us the opportunity to allow the patient to see a multiple visits within one visit. So you can just go down the hall and see the psychiatrist, all a part of your Medicare. Some of these outdated practices discourage same-day treatment, forcing many children to schedule a separate appointment, delaying access to critical care. What this bill does is it removes that barrier. And you scratch your head and say, wait a minute, Congressman, this is common sense. Why hasn't this happened before? I can walk you through the statutes and show you tons of these bureaucratic, nightmare-filled loopholes that make it more difficult and give opportunity for abuse of the system to make a person come back or to deny access to care. And we have already seen what happens with our young people because of the challenges of lack of mental health facilities or practitioners in close proximity of our children. When a doctor identifies a need for behavioral health support, the patient shouldn't have to wait. They should be able to go right next door to the next room and get this life-saving care that the patient needs. Under this bill, and I'm proud to say that I've garnered bipartisan support for it because mental health is not black, white, rich, poor, Democrat, or Republican. It is a matter of reality for so many in our community. Unfortunately, in our community, probably more than any others, we tend to ignore mental health. We stick our head in the sand and don't want to talk about it. We say, no, I'm not crazy. Nothing's wrong with me. Well, no, you're not crazy. But like any other imbalance in our body, if it's high blood pressure, diabetes, or anything else, you take a pill, you exercise, you diet. Mental health is the same way. You've got to talk to someone. You've got to exercise, diet. You've got to take medication, and you can live a normal life. But you can't expect that it will go away just because you don't want to talk about it. And we, as policymakers, have to make these health care provisions available, particularly to those who are in the greatest need, oftentimes have the greatest challenge of getting health care.
I'm encouraged that you have bipartisan support on this. Is that in the House of Representatives and the Senate
Yes,
as well?
We're working on the Senate side right now. My hope is that we will have bicameral, both houses to sign on, and that I will have Republicans and Democrats. Listen, it takes extra effort, but you got to work it. And if you work it hard and you're able to explain your point, I go to some of my counterparts and say, man, listen, you need to look at this. You need to get outside of this hardcore conservative stuff and look at the reality. Your kids are suffering the same way. These are issues that are not just in Democratic households.
Right.
This happens all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're able to spend extra time, I've been very successful in being able to get some of my counterparts to sign on to some of these measures because, we can't do this alone. I mean, we don't have the votes. And truthfully, even if we had the votes, our government is not set up to be as divisive as Trump has made it to be. A part of the system of governance and what the framers of the Constitution intended, particularly with the U.S. House of Representatives, that there are 435 of us, and our job is to be the closest lever. That's why it's called the People's House, to the people's issues. And in order to address them, we got to work together.
Yeah, I know it's Democrat and Republican, and so often people look at Medicaid as something that's in the poor places, the ways that they define poor places. But in most congressional districts, correct me if I'm wrong, 20 to 25% or more of each congressional district is a part of Medicaid, which, if that's true, it's absolutely Republican and Democratic districts.
Mike Johnson our Speaker of the House, has one of the highest Medicaid-dependent districts in the entire country. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, has one of the highest Medicaid-dependent constituencies in the entire country. Now let that sink in. And yet you still follow Trump down this dark path of denying some 17 million people access to Medicaid. Now, if that is not cutting your nose off to spite your face, if that is not completely ignoring the reality of the needs of your people, what is?
Congressman, talk to us about the state offices of women's health, a different kind of health issue that you're working on.
So one of the very last acts I did as a member of the state Senate before I was elected to Congress and had to leave to be sworn in was the passage of the Office of Women's Health. I passed this bill off the House floor, passed it out of Senate committee, and then I had to leave. And I passed it on to my very dear friend and President Pro Tem of the State Senate, Senator Regina Barrow. And we got the bill passed and got it signed into law. And very proud of being one of the first states in the country to actually have an Office of Women's Health in the state of Louisiana. And now what my State Office of Women's Health Support and Expansion Act does is it now puts some resources in that would, this legislation creates a $55 million grant program through the United States Department of Health and Human Services, which will now take the Women's Health Office in the state of Louisiana and others that have followed. We were the model state for it when this passed. Others have followed suit. This now creates a $55 million grant program to expand those services to fortify the services of Women's Health Office. And some will say, well, why do you think you need a Women's Health Office? And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the complexities of our sisters' bodies, and you look at the number of particularly African-American women who are dying during birth, and you look at the alarming number of breast cancer, cervical cancer, and we're losing particularly black women at alarming rates. We've got to do better. That means if you've got money, if you get resources, you aren't dying, but if you don't, you are. That means we have to have equality in our health care, and we've got to apply the resources to stop the flow of unnecessary deaths, particularly what we see pre and post birth. The numbers among African Americans are astounding. And that's what ultimately gave birth to my idea to create the Office of Women's Health to shine greater light on these disparities. And now what this bill does is it fortifies it by creating a grant program so all 50 states will have access to resources to expand those offices and create the kind of reach that I think will save lives.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the mortality rate for African American women during pregnancies. That's like 58% to 70% of them are making up the percentages of post of birth deaths.
Yes, that's exactly right, Norman. These are real numbers, and when you put that on paper and you start to see, one of the things I like to do in Congress is instead of just looking at spreadsheets, I bring people to committee rooms. Rather, it's people with disabilities, people who lost their kids to gun violence, people who are losing their Medicaid, and put them before committees so these members can see real people, not widgets, not spreadsheets, because they get desensitized, and these numbers don't mean anything until you see a parent sitting there crying because they lost their child, a husband who's sitting there because he lost his wife and his baby. And so when you're able to really zero in, And that's why I'm so grateful again for WBOK for giving me this opportunity to have this conversation with you guys and likewise with the community, because people need to know the struggles that are going on. And we need to know why. I go back to when we vote, we win. We may not get everything we want, but every time we get another Troy Carter at the table, in the room, our voices are heard. Discussions are being had that would not be had if we weren't there. If we're not sitting at the table, even the resources we get, which may be still woefully short of what we need, we wouldn't get those. So participation is so critically important, because somebody's got to be there to say what you say in the barbershop, to say what you say at the kitchen table, to say what you say at the family reunion, to say what you say when you're having discussions with your friends and colleagues. If we're not there, those discussions aren't being had.
Congressman, I know you have a couple of events, and we're going to try to squeeze in a call or two. But today in Jefferson Parish, you've got a passport acceptance event.
Yes, really excited, because these have been very popular. We'll be hosting our passport acceptance event today from 9 to 12 at the Jefferson Parish Library. No appointments required. If you need more information, please visit us at all of our media platforms at Rep. Troy Carter to review what you need to bring to participate. Remember, it's no cash. You can only pay by electronic forms or credit card. No cash. We ask that you go online, print out an application to kind of speed the process. But if you don't, just come on down. We'll help you do it. And this has been an expedited way of getting a passport. If any of you know at the last minute, if you're trying to travel, or even if it's not the last minute, you're trying to travel, you get caught up in the maze of bureaucratic mess trying to get a passport. We, with what we refer to as our curbside service, have town hall meetings, several throughout the year, several throughout the entire district, where we bring services of the federal government, rather it is Veterans Affairs, Social Security, Department of Health and Hospitals, passports, IRS, to assist people with their needs, to lessen the challenge of dealing with the federal government, bring it to the people. This is an example of that, where we will have SBA agents on premise to help you with your SBA loans, to answer questions about your Social Security, to talk about how do we make sure people are ready and prepared for these massive changes that will happen with Medicaid. People have to reapply every 6 months going forward. We are working to make sure that no one falls through the cracks, and we do that by having these town hall meetings, curbside services, bringing resources to the people, demonstrating that, listen, we're working 24/7. We know that Trump and his evil apparatus, and that's right, I said evil, anybody who can systematically go and hurt so many people, in my estimation, is purely evil. So we work to counteract that by bringing resources to the people so we can help mitigate those damages. And today, if you need a passport, planning a family trip, come on out. We'll help walk you through the process.
Okay, and you got another event next week. We're going to get to that now because we're running out of time.
He's got the Community Resource Fair. That's next Thursday, August 27th at 11:30 a.m. What's that all about, Congressman?
And that's very similar. It's expanded. We bring even more agencies in. We cooperate and coordinate rather with the city and state, and we have the resources of federal government, state government, local government, all in place. We have health care, have your health screenings, come in and have your blood pressure checked, talk about prostate cancer, one of the areas that I work very deeply in as well with the Prostate for HIMSS Act, which is a bill that I'm navigating through the process now, which creates opportunities for people that are at risk to have easier ways and free ways to have checkups, because we know when we are checked, we can live. You don't have to die from prostate cancer. You don't have to, yet many of our brothers and sisters do. from cancer, period. Many of our brothers die from prostate cancer. And preventive care makes all the difference in the world. Unfortunately, many of us, particularly men, the first time we see a doctor is in an emergency room because we have that macho thing. Oh, I can handle this. Suck it up, man. I'm okay. Well, that's all fine until you're looking up and in a bed saying your goodbyes to people. You don't have to die. And a part of our outreach is to make sure that we limit the senseless deaths, the unnecessary deaths, the deaths way before time of our brothers and sisters by making sure that you're screened, that you're taking care of yourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally. What this resource fair is, it brings the resources of all of government, and we bring it to you. We know people are working. We know that it's hard to sometimes get to City Hall, to get to our offices, to get to the doctor, so we bring it all to you, absolutely free of charge. There'll be no ID check. I don't care where you live, where you come from. Come on in, and we're going to provide resources for you.
Well, thank you so much, Congressman, for joining us once again and giving us some wonderful context about some other things going on and beginning of this segment, and then some things that people might not know, and then some focus on community connection opportunities today with the Passport event and next week with the Community Resource event, both here in the greater New Orleans area. We had a couple of people who wanted to talk to you, but what we're going to do is ask them to call before we're off the air. And I know they would love to talk to you, but you've got stuff to do. And perhaps somebody on your team can listen in and see what's on their mind. But
fantastic.
Meanwhile,
Listen,
go ahead.
Go, Norman. I'm sorry.
I said, meanwhile, I know we've got to let you go. So thank you so much for joining us once again on the Good Morning
Well, thank you
Show.
both. It's always an honor to be with both of you. On a very serious note, two of the best to ever do it. God bless you both. God bless WBOK. I look forward to chatting with you next week.
Thank you. Keep the fires burning, Congressman.
Lord's blessings. Have a great day. All right, folks. That's a wrap on Congressman Carter. Sorry we didn't get to some of your calls, but please call before the end of the show because the Congressman's team is listening and they want to hear from you. He wants to hear from you. So we'll take some calls. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Ambassador Francis Rooney. Last time he joined us, man, that was quite a conversation, especially in the context of his background. So we're going to talk about some foreign affairs issues right after the break. I'm Will Sutton here with Norman Robinson. And Norman, what's that talk line number?
The talk line number, ladies and gentlemen, is 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Be sure to join us Thursday morning on the Front Porch as WBOK's very own Wendell Pierce, in conjunction with the New Orleans Film Society, will be here to discuss his new movie, They Fight. Don't miss out on this exclusive interview with Wendell as he discusses the movie and other projects he is working on. It all goes down on the Front Porch Thursday morning on WBOK.
It's time to lock in.
Yes, Coach.
Let's get it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
This is Andronica Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm
Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Raleigh police are investigating the death of a 32-year-old black man who was found hanging in downtown Raleigh in North Carolina over the weekend. Black Raleigh Police Chief Rico Boyce.
At 1:59 p.m., video shows the young man carrying an electrical cord walking towards the tree by himself.
Authorities say surveillance video supports their belief that no foul play was involved, though the investigation remains ongoing. Spike Lee's annual Michael Jackson Block Party is returning to Brooklyn's Fort Greene Park on August 29th. The free community celebration of the King of Pop's birthday will feature music, dancing, and a special set from longtime Michael Jackson collaborator DJ Spinna. And Getty Images is partnering with 11 HBCUs to digitize and preserve historic photo archives. The images will be featured in a special collection that generates funding and scholarships while allowing the schools to retain ownership of their archives. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK. Good morning, New Orleans. I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Norman Robinson, and we appreciate you listening this morning. Want to remind you that it's a school day, and lots of babies and kiddos on their way to school. Please be safe, watching out for yourself, watching the crazy drivers, and watching out for our kids as they head to school.
Obey the speed limit.
Yes.
School zones, please.
Whether they're getting off of buses, out of personal cars or trucks, walking, watch out for them because they need to get to those schools to get the education they need to become productive citizens. And we want everybody to be safe. We don't want any reports about kids having accidents. We want everybody to get where they're going. So look, as promised earlier, we're going to jump into conversation with Ambassador Francis Rooney. And a reminder for those of you who have maybe missed him before or those who have heard him before, he's former congressman for Florida's 19th Congressional District. That's from 2017 to 21 as a Republican. And he was U.S. ambassador to the Holy See, one of the very special, important ambassadorships, and that was 2005 to 2008. So he is a conservative. And his American Conservative Union score was more than 95%. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we go into this conversation.
We're not mad at him.
Yeah, I just want you to keep in mind those things as we jump into this conversation because he's concerned about our nation.
As he should be.
And we're going to jump into conversation. Good morning, Ambassador. You're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson. How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back, Will.
Oh, is that an okay introduction? Was that fair?
Well, I wasn't conservative enough for your congressman from Southwest Louisiana to let me be on the Natural Resources Committee.
All right. And a reminder to make a current day connection. You were succeeded by
Byron Donalds,
Congress member running for governor of Florida.
That is correct.
Yep.
He is very conservative.
Yeah. Well, that's a heck of a comment coming from you.
No, I'm kind of a Reagan Bush fiscal conservative, old style, business oriented Republican.
Well, you're my kind of conservative.
Yeah.
I was a White House correspondent during the George H.W. Bush administration, and I kind of I liked him. Some of my fellow journalists didn't like him, but I liked him.
I'm just reading the
he was
Fox
really
here
cool.
before getting on the phone. You know that Trump's 1.5 terms have accounted for 29% of this $40 trillion national debt?
I'm not surprised. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Wow. Well, we're happy to have you join us again. Let's touch on our It's Not a War effort in Iran. Give us some context. What if it's not a war, what is it?
Well, it's kind of a stalemate or a chess game. It was a ridiculous move that the president made. He has no ability to control events that far around the world with a country as manipulative and historically recalcitrant as Iran. He just should have left it alone. And someday the people of Iran will revolt from the IRGC, and then we can come in and maybe try to help them. But this is not Venezuela.
So, Mr. Ambassador, are we more safe now or less safe?
I think we're less safe, and we spent $37 billion that we don't have.
So one of the things I've been hearing is that part of the problem with this extended war versus we're going to go in, take care of our business, change things forever in a few weeks is because this has extended so long. We are digging into our ammunition and military reserve, and it's going to be hard to build that up. Is that right?
Well, it's going to take. That is exactly right. It's going to take more time than this Secretary of Defense speaks about, too. You just can't automatically, radically increase production of anything. You've got to have manufacturing lines, raw materials, processes in place, people. You know, we've spent almost all of our interceptors and aggressive weapons on nothing.
Considering that the landscape that you've painted for us, you've laid out for us, 6 months into this war, exactly what is the American end game in Iran?
Well, I think he's been trying to scramble away for a way out of here. And he thought he had one, and Iran keeps checkmating him every time they think they're getting close to some kind of agreement. And basically, the best he's going to be able to hope for is that they reopen the straits and everybody goes home, just like it was before we spent the $37 billion.
So what do you think Iran's end game is?
That. Just get us out of there and go about their business.
To remove our troops from the Middle East?
No, they don't really care about that. They don't want us they know that the American people will not go for invading Iran with ground troops. They also know that they have a very difficult geography in which to fight a ground war. I mean, it's like flying over the Rocky Mountains from Denver to Crested Butte when you go from Tehran to Isfahan. I've done it.
Wow. That sounds foreboding. President Trump has insisted that Iran cannot be allowed a nuclear weapon. So has this war actually moved us closer to that objective, or has it made Iran more determined to acquire one?
I don't know if it's made them any more determined, but it hadn't changed the status quo. And I don't understand the problem, really. I mean, I know Iran, they say a lot of dangerous things about the United States, and I wish sooner or later they need to get through that phase. But they can't hurt the United States with their missiles. They can hurt Israel. They can't hurt the United States. And they've never fired a nuclear missile, nor has Pakistan. In Pakistan, we seem to not talk about Pakistan's nuclear weapons, and we like Pakistan because they have a favorable geography for us to fly over and attack bad guys like bin Laden. But they're just as dangerous as Iran.
So with you're saying that Iran couldn't significantly attack us, but they could attack their neighbors.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, they could.
And that would cause a different kind of havoc if this extends beyond Iran and close neighbors and then have consistent attacks on some of their neighboring countries, especially those places where we have military bases.
But you know, until Trump attacked them, all those countries on the west side of the Straits, the Sunni Arab countries, were getting along pretty well with Iran, the Shiite country on the east. You know, Iran supplies a lot of material and goods to Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Qatar shares a gas field with Iran in the northern part of the Gulf of Iran or Gulf of Arabia. So there's a lot of mutual contacts. I mean, we have a base right there in Qatar, but they have a gas field with Iran.
Well, they've effectively damaged a lot of our bases, which were supply venues for our Navy. So they were pretty strategic about that. And that was hidden from us by the Secretary of Defense for quite some time. So is that part of Iran's strategy to debilitate us in those areas where troops are impacted negatively?
I think sure they'd love to, but I think they know they can't really seriously debilitate us. But what they can do is show the world that they have a fighting punch against the great United States. And I think they're kind of shadow boxing when they attack our base. They take out a building or something, or an airplane, or they attack a hotel in Dubai or something, is just to let the world know that they are players and they're not going to take it off of Trump.
So what does that do for our international reputation as a nation of strength?
I think it weakens us a lot. And when you couple it with what Trump's done with Europe, where, you know, he's treated them horribly, he's criticized them for not joining in his Iran thing. He criticizes them for not spending enough on defense, and he's got a point about that. But it would be better to criticize them privately than publicly and make a spectacle out of it if you want to get results, you know. And I think it's made Europe rethink their ability to depend on the United States, which would be a real problem for us.
So, meanwhile, the president is promising a quote-unquote crushing economic operation. Right. How does that tie into the military operation in your view?
I think he's trying to pivot off of military because that isn't working. So he's going to try this economic thing, which is a little more oblique, and it's kind of hard to measure. And we'll see how big of a problem they can cause for Iran. You know, these dictatorships like Iran have an ability to harm their people and in ways that Americans would never put up with. And it's hard to understand what they can do. Look what Chavez and Maduro did in Venezuela. You know, average Venezuelan lost like 30 kilos of weight because they didn't have any food.
So let's talk about Venezuela. We went in, dark of night. We grabbed the president and his wife, shipped them off to the United States, New York, I believe. I think that's where they are still. And it looked like there was going to be regime change, but essentially the number two became the number one with promises to be helpful to the United States. So it seems like all of the president's men and women are still in place. And are we getting what we want with the oil and pursuing democracy? Where do we stand with that?
Yeah, I really don't think Trump cares about democracy. I think what Trump likes these strong men. That's why he keeps coddling Putin and going to North Korea. I mean, how about the irony of canceling joint military exercises with South Korea and announcing another trip to North Korea? Where do we get this guy?
Well, he wants to be a strong man. He wants the world to consider him.
I think he likes it just fine to have Delcy Rodriguez down there in Venezuela willing to do about whatever he tells her to do. And you still have the ultimate strongman, a guy named Diosdado Cabello, is the real power behind the throne down in Venezuela. He was behind Chavez and Maduro and is right now.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Ambassador. What precedent did we establish by sending American forces into another a sovereign country to seize its president? And what argument do we make when Russia or China cites that precedent for
exactly? How are we any different than Russia taking Crimea? There was no legal justification for our invading Venezuela, no matter how little we may like their regime. And every time we've done this in the past, it's backfired on us. It backfired in Iran in like 1958. We took out the president, and it backfired in all over South America back in the Eisenhower and Nixon era when Nixon went down to Caracas and they threw eggs at him. We don't build respect for ourselves when we do this.
Okay. Ambassador, we're going to take a break right now. And can you stay on the line with us for a bit? Because we've got another issue we'd like to explore with you. Really appreciate your time and you calling in, but we do have to pay the bills. so we need to take a break. I'm glad you can extend your stay with us for a few more minutes. This is 8:21, folks. 8:21. If you got to be there at 8:30, you got about 9 minutes. You've got to be there at 8:25. You got 4 minutes. If you got a drive of 9, 10, or 15 minutes to make it at 8:25 or 8:30, you're cutting it close.
No, you're already late.
All right, but whatever you do, be careful out there. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, not on the comb or the brush, not on the burger, not on the bagel.
And don't be texting.
Please, 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 please. Robinson is a victim of that.
Oh, yes, I am.
All right, so don't want to have that happen. Look, I'm Will Sutton here with Norman Robinson, and we'll be back. But before we do, Norman, what's that talk line number?
Again, that number is 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Elizabeth Kubel, and here are your Thursday morning headlines for you. Today, the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District Board will meet amid growing backlash over a concert at the Superdome. The Jewish community is calling for accountability as Kanye West is set to perform next week. In a letter sent to the board and Legends Global, who manages Dome operations, the Jewish Federation of Greater New Orleans claims the artist has repeatedly spread anti-Semitic messages. They say that they have been in conversation to make sure venue leadership and event staff are trained and that it does not include hateful rhetoric. The concert is set for August 28th. Family and friends of Nolan Wells honored his life on what would have been his 19th birthday. A prayer rally was held last night in Biloxi for the teen who was found dead after a boating trip with friends last month. 2 autopsies have not provided a definitive explanation of what caused his death. And new progress made on a project that has caused frustration for many French Quarter business owners. The Sewage and Water Board posted some pictures of new pavement along Decatur Street. The Sewage and Water Board says a contractor is continuing sidewalk restoration in that area. The project has been at the center of a lawsuit, and businesses say it's come at a big cost. And that is a look for you at your Thursday morning.
Be sure to join us Thursday morning on the front porch as WBOK's very own Wendell Pierce, in conjunction with the New Orleans Film Society, will be here to discuss his new movie, They Fight. Don't miss out on this exclusive interview with Wendell as he discusses the movie and other projects he is working on. It all goes down on the front porch Thursday morning on WBOK.
It's time to lock in.
Yes, Coach.
Let's get it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
This summer, the place to be is downtown. From incredible restaurants and shopping to retail, wellness, and so much more. Enjoy special offers and discounts from participating downtown businesses all season long. Brought to you by the Downtown Development District. Whether it's after work, date night, or weekend fun, there's always something happening downtown. Plan your next outing at participating locations like Coppervine, Mother's, the Audubon Aquarium, and Riverwalk Outlets. Visit downtownnola.com. Summer starts here. Extended through Labor Day, Louisiana residents get half off general admission to the National World War II Museum. Take advantage of 50% off and beat the summer heat at New Orleans' #1 attraction. Don't wait. Plan your visit at nationalworldwar2museum.org.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
What's up, gang? This is DJ Wick, and I would like to invite you to join me this Sunday night for the Throwback Throwdown, 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM and on KKNO 750 AM and 107.1 FM, as I have a very special show this Sunday to salute the man himself, Barry Richards, the Rita Czar, as he has passed on and gained his wings. I'm rebroadcasting the very first interview of the Throwback Throwdown with the Rita Czar as our special guest. Join us this Sunday night for the Throwback Throwdown with yours truly, DJ Wick, 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM and KKNO 750 AM, 107.1 FM.
Climate Hope NOLA presents this month's climate keyword, adaptation. Climate adaptation means preparing our communities for stronger storms, hotter days, flooding, and rising water. That means planting trees, restoring wetlands, protecting homes, and helping families recover stronger after disasters. In New Orleans, resilience is part of who we are and how we survive. Learn more, stay informed, and take action with Climate Hope NOLA. Visit Team Hope NOLA on Instagram to learn more.
What if you could pull up a chair at the same table as your doctors? Join me, Kimber White Dupree, as I welcome board-certified physicians, Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlanda Reno Harris. For Table Rounds, we're bringing those meaningful medical conversations out of the hospital and into our community. Health topics that matter most, from the health disparities and menopause to mental health and much more. Table Rounds with Dr. Princess Dinner and Dr. Darlanda Reno Harris. Every fourth Monday at 10 a.m. on the front porch, because better conversations lead to better health.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another heat advisory today as highs reach 94 to 99 degrees, filling up to 112, which is why we're under a WDSU first warning weather impact day. There's also a chance for a few scattered showers in the afternoon. Tonight, lows fall to 74 to 80 degrees. For Friday, highs reach 94 to 100, with a much better chance for storms after 4 p.m. More 90s are expected for the weekend. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Reshaw.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show, whether you've been listening to us since 7:02, 7:04, 6:10, or you're just tuning in. It's okay. It's okay. We are in conversation with Ambassador Francis Rooney. I'm Will Sutton here with Norman Robinson. Ambassador, good conversation about Iran and what's going on there. Let's talk about the war that is still going on, but because of what's going on in Iran, it hasn't gotten as much daily attention. And that's Ukraine and Russia. And I looked this morning and see that 15 were killed in Kyiv as Ukraine gets struck again by Russia. What's your take on where we are with this? Seemed like this was going to be over quite some time ago, and multiple times where it seems like they're getting to the table and they're getting closer and figuring out which land would go to who, and then it falls apart. What's happening?
Well, I think part of it shows Trump's affinity for the dictators like Putin. He won't really put the hammer down on Russia, and he's vacillated about his support for the Ukraine, and to the point that Europe has had to pick up the ball significantly, which is not a bad thing in the sense that they're the people that are closest to the Ukraine. They ought to have a very strong role in what happens there. But it would be nice if the United States were a little more vocal for the Ukraine and a little less passive about Russia.
So we know that President Trump is enamored with Putin, but what has the president learned about Putin that he may not have understood when he took office?
You know, I'm not sure that Trump is not immune from learning. He seems to be more interested in telling people what he thinks than figuring out what he can learn from someone else. I mean, that's how these advisors have gotten him into all these disastrous things like Iran, like these ridiculous ego billion-dollar projects here in Washington. I don't know. I think it's a serious problem.
So
I mean, you compare Trump's ambivalence about Russia with George Bush's, with Condoleezza Rice in the background, who knows as much about Russia as any living human being, where they took a very strong role. They put those SS, whatever they are, 20 missiles into Poland to let Russia know we meant business. And after Bush was out, they took him out. We took him out.
So are we providing enough support to Ukraine? Have we gotten to a point where, so many Republicans were against supporting Ukraine at all? Do we have more support in the Republican Party for helping Ukraine, or are we in a situation where there's some support for Ukraine, not enough, because we're looking at what others are doing and should be doing, and we're just not going to give them enough to truly be more competitive? But they're hanging in there. Russia's had some unexpected failures, I would say.
Russia's lost a lot more resources than the Ukraine has, that's for sure. Well, on the one hand, I think it's really good to have Europe drawn into the conflict and supporting it with weaponry and non-combat people support. On the other hand, I think it's very important that the United States continue to supply Javelin missiles and continue to provide intelligence for where Ukraine sends its drones and things like that. So there's two different threads working in the Ukraine, and as long as we can at least keep doing that, maybe the Ukraine at some point will be able to accomplish a ceasefire.
So, Mr. Ambassador, where's the evidence that they're doing that? I mean, Ukraine is struggling because their resources are running short. So
they are, and we haven't provided any recent ones. That's right. I mean, and Trump, he dragged his feet on giving them the Javelins in the first term, and it took a lot of coaxing by Lindsey Graham and a lot of legislators who were pro-Ukraine to get him to release those Javelins. I remember my friend Kurt Volker was working on that at the State Department.
So is Putin actually interested in a negotiated settlement, or is negotiation for him simply another instrument of warfare?
I think they've consumed so many resources that if he could get a stalemate where he kept what he has, he'd probably take it. The problem is whenever time they talk about a stalemate, Putin says he wants some more property. And I think that Trump's probably right, that the agreement ought to be that the best case for Russia is you keep what you got. Now, Zelensky doesn't want to do that, but I don't think Zelensky's got any real choice in that.
So do you think it will end with America pressuring Ukraine to make territorial concessions?
Well, in a sense, that's what we've already done. Yeah, we've said there's a deal there to have, and this is it. And Zelensky said he wouldn't do it.
So what message does this send to smaller countries around the world that depend on American security guarantees?
Well, that's just like that business about invading Venezuela and attacking Iran. I mean, I think that we have suffered a reduction in our prestige around the world and our ability to convene people to help see our point of view. I think it's emboldened China, it's emboldened Russia, probably emboldening this North Korea lunatic. And none of it's been good for us. I mean, I think this is the worst foreign policy president I can ever imagine.
And yet his Republican supporters on Capitol Hill praise him for being one of the best at handling foreign policy.
That's another problem. Our Republican legislators have become Stepford wives, and nobody will cross this guy. There were a few people that lost primaries and still wouldn't cross him and voted to support Todd Blanche.
Even our very own U.S. Senator for the moment, Bill Cassidy.
He's a great guy, and I really wish he'd have voted against Blanche. He's a good friend of mine. I really admire what he did for, especially being one of the only doctors, him and John Barrasso in the Senate. I think he was very effective, and I guess he did a good job for Louisiana. I don't know. I think he's a really decent person, but they just couldn't come to put it to Trump.
Yeah. Yep.
And the House of Representatives, they might as well not even show up for work.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. Well, thank you, Ambassador, for sticking with us a little bit longer so we could talk about another war that we are involved with, and the President of Peace. And no forever war seems to continue something he said he was against. But
pretty much done the opposite of everything he said. And he's also nothing but a wasteful spender. I'm just going to write a post right now about the horrible spending. You know, he is responsible in 1.4 terms for 29% of that $40 trillion national debt.
Woo.
Yeah. Now, you know, you got to laugh to keep from crying here.
Yeah. Ambassador. Ambassador. Correct me if I'm wrong, but over the decades, Republicans have been against increasing the deficit, and reducing it. Yes or no?
Well, they are when the Democrats in office, but they don't seem to be when they are.
Oh my. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the insightful conversation and information. Ambassador, Lord's blessings, and have a great day.
Thank you. I hope you all have a nice day, too. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Well, how about that?
As they say up the country, he put the hay down where the goats could get at it.
Yeah, right. Oh, jeez, Lord. Oh, boy.
This degree of insanity coming from the White House drives you insane.
Yes.
Trying to figure out what's happening.
Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I'm glad the ambassador was able to point to specific things that, as a traditional conservative Republican, still makes no sense. Man, oh, man. Well, we're going to go to the phone line. Good morning, Aaron. You're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson. Appreciate your patience. I'm sorry we didn't get to you before. I saw you hanging in there, man. I saw you. And, you know, if you listen to all of the Congressman's segment, you heard how riled up he got. We had to get
it was very informative. You know?
Yeah, he was on a roll.
I was mad at first, but you know, I understood. Sometimes you got to be willing to humble yourself for the greater good.
Absolutely. So before you get started, do your shout outs, man.
You already know. First, shouts out to the Father Round Table as well as the Hill Newton Gun Club. Listen, man. How you doing, Brother Robinson?
I'm
really
doing.
enjoy your segments on
Thank you. I got a new one coming up today. I got a new editorial coming up today. If Will lets
Yeah,
it
you're
on,
right.
if Will
Straight
lets
out,
it,
straight out.
if Will approves it airing, then then you'll be listening to it.
We'll take a look after the show.
Most definitely, most definitely.
I'm doing well. Thanks
first
for asking.
Yeah, you're right, my brother. Same here, same here. Are y'all familiar with William Good?
I'm not.
Name sounds familiar, but I'm.
I know you're going to know.
Yeah.
William Good was the mayor when the police under Rizzo went inside the MOVE organization in Philadelphia.
Oh, you're talking about
okay.
That's Wilson Good.
Wilson Good. Yeah.
Wilson Good.
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
Wilson
that's
Good.
right. Yeah, Wilson Good, first black mayor of Philadelphia. I was reporting in Philadelphia when that happened and out there when the bomb came down. After the bomb came down. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I said that is because Rizzo was the police chief at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Wilson Good who said, I approve them dropping the bomb, and I'll do it again if it ever came to it. Now, I understood what y'all was saying about, how important the vote is. The vote is important, and we do have to do better as it relates to showing up to vote. However, the people that have power right now that is in office, they have to do a better job on fighting for us because there's our voice. I give you an example on what I'm talking about. It's 2026 right now, and when it was doing the redistricting in the People's House, as the congressman called it,
mm-hmm.
a white boy stood up inside the People's House and said, I'll support redistricting today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Now, the redistricting speech that he gave, that wasn't the significance. What the significance was for the white boy to be emboldened enough to stand up and quote George Wallace,
exactly,
the governor of Alabama. And none of those so-called leaders, especially the black ones, who's supposed to be having our interest, our voice, stood up and said anything. So you can't be saying the people is not coming out to vote without showing them or giving them a reason to go out there to vote. Y'all keep on blaming the people on what we not doing and what we need to be doing, but y'all is in office in these seats right now, power, and y'all not even giving us a reason to go out there and do what we supposed to be doing. Now, we understand what the other side is going to do because they have a history of doing that, but at the same time, the people that we go out there and vote for and support, reciprocity got to be number one, because when the beasts continue to sit back and watch that our representatives are not going to stand up and fight for us, they're going to keep on trying stuff, just like with this trash contract. We paying in the city of New Orleans, we paying to get 2 times a week, and we only getting 1. And there is no protest, no riots going on in front of City Hall. We also paying to get recycling to get done, and there's no recycling getting done. So again, all this so-called black leadership that we have within the city as well as the state, if y'all not standing up and fighting for the people, how the hell y'all expect for us to come up and just keep on showing up for y'all whenever it's voting time?
What would you like to see them do, Rev? When you say fight specifically, how should they fight?
Let me give you an example on what I mean. When that white boy felt comfortable to stand up and say he supports it today, when he quoted George Wallace,
mm-hmm.
that should have been, and immediately they should have had buses coming from all over the state to get his behind up out that seat. That's the first thing. When it came down to the Ronald Green situation,
mm-hmm.
they should have had buses and everybody and their mama coming from all over to make sure that Mama Mona, who is the mother of Ronald Green, gets justice. As a matter of fact, when that white boy with Gary Carter, when he told them, y'all need to shut up, they should have had buses coming from, they should have organized buses to come from wherever. The same way how they made sure for when Katrina happened, the people that wasn't here to vote, when it was time for mayor, they sent buses to Texas,
mm-hmm.
Arkansas, and wherever else the people was at to make sure they got down here and vote. It should have took that same effort to make sure that when people in our community is attacked, the people that have our so-called voices and things like that, they supposed to make sure that, again, reciprocity is a must. Because the beasts that we fight, they don't fear no noise. They fear consistency. And our leaders, as well as us, ain't consistent on nothing. Yeah, it's cool to call this radio station and these shows and say what the problem is, but if we're not doing nothing, what you think gonna keep on happening?
Mm-hmm.
We can't be the only ones in the city that see what's going on.
Right.
Can't be,
Yeah.
especially when we gave y'all our vote to go up there and represent us, but y'all not doing that. But then y'all want to keep on blaming the people. Y'all ain't voting. What is we as the people getting for our vote? I'm gonna hang up and listen.
All right. All right. Lord's blessings, Aaron. Aaron, have a good day. Aaron, let me make sure, since I was there in Philadelphia, Rizzo was the police chief in the late 60s and early 70s. Wilson Goode became the first black mayor of Philadelphia in the 80s. One of the first things he did was hire a police chief that was going to be a community-focused, understanding chief, and people were very happy with his choice and his appointment. But then the move bombing happened, and Mr. Sambor resigned because there was such a public backlash that Wilson Goode couldn't save him. And he did back Sambor at the time, so that part is true. But it wasn't Rizzo, because Rizzo had completed his time as police chief, and as he finished that time, the citizens of Philadelphia liked what he was doing and elected him as mayor after being that kind of police chief.
And you were a reporter for the
Philadelphia
Inquirer at that time.
That's right.
As I recall.
Yep.
I was
Indeed.
reporting it from down here.
Yes. Right. It was an international story.
Yeah.
The city bombing its own people. And there's more to it than that, but that's the just wanted to make sure we, for the body of listeners, that we know about that. Okay, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. You're on Will Sutton and Norman Robinson.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
The ambassador kind of answered some of the questions I had about this deficit, this budget that has came 2 years ahead of the projections, right?
Mm-hmm.
The deficit is actually 2 years was projected. This deficit was supposed to be in 28. It's here now. My question would have been to our congressman: how long do you think it's going to take before there will be no money to do Medicaid? There will not be any money coming from the federal government because the federal government is going to be broke down. The ambassador said that 29% of this deficit can be contributed or attributed to Donald Trump.
That's right.
If we don't get some understanding about the legislators we send, who's representing us, this lady that's running for the Senate right now, Ms. Letlow, has already confirmed that she's going to be a supporter of Donald Trump. If we're going to do anything in terms of trying to turn this thing around, I think we have to come together to talk about who we send to Congress. Because as long as people are going there with the mentality, like was said about Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise, they are 100% in support of whatever Mr. Trump comes up with. So to my brother's point, coming together got to be more than about just us getting out and protesting. We have to come together into some kind of understanding to talk about what's really going on and how we are now being undermined out of government, how we're being the first thing Trump did was bring Crazy Man in there, and he started getting rid of the Department of Education. So my point being is, yeah, I'm all about the protests and the hooping and the hollering, but unless we come together with some real action as to how we get rid of some of these people that's going along because they think they're safe, and under Trump, nobody, and I do mean no one, is safe. So my thoughts is at this point we need to talk about how we move forward. And what we had back in 50 years ago in the 60s and things, was that united front. Even though they had some preachers that did not want to have anything to do with Martin Luther King. But there was a group that stayed together and went forward. And you're looking at Trump now reversing everything that was done in the 60s when people came together and fought together. So those are my thoughts. Norman, you might want to include some of that in your...
In my next.
Well, it is written, and I promise we'll take a look at it this morning, and I'll see if the brother has come up to snuff before it's released.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I'm trying to help him. I'm doing all I
I
can.
appreciate that.
I know I can't help you, Will. You went to St. Aug. People.
No, he's beyond help.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying.
All right.
Gentlemen, y'all have a good morning.
All right,
you
Lord's
too,
blessings. Have a great day. All right, we're gonna go to Ken. Good morning, Ken. You're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson. How are you today, good brother?
Oh, I'm good, brother. I'm good, Brother Norman, and good morning to you as well, Will.
Good morning.
I know I only have a few minutes, so I'll make this quick. Reality is, to Brother Aaron's point, yes, we need to be doing things more in terms of having people out publicly protesting. That's very important. But we also need to have economic cohesion, because people listen to their pocketbooks. They listen to pocketbooks, and they also listen to votes. And I understand what he's saying about when you elect people who, and I've said this on the station before when I was a guest host, who are we electing? We're electing people we like. Yeah, well, he said he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be more educated in terms of our representation. We need to represent and register, educate, and then present, show up. In doing that, who are these people? Do we know what to tell them we want? Do we know how to tell them, hey, you're going this route, that's not going to get it. Here's some other directions in which we can get to that. Here's some people that can help. Here's some people that will help. That, because we're electing folks we like. That's a big problem. You elect people to positions who are, let's just take most recently, let's take any seat. Let's talk about a mayor's seat. When you elect a mayor, you're electing a chief executive officer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what part of issues you are on. Legislators deal with issues. Mayors are executives. They have to come up with baking the cake, not tasting it and telling me it's good. And they got to bake it from scratch in some cases. And they've never baked the cake before. How likely is that person to be successful? That's just as a thought, and that doesn't point to anything. That's the first office I thought of. But you can take that for any office of that type that is an executive position. Legislators, different. Legislators, I need somebody with the right consciousness and with a good skill set and something that they can get some stuff done. But who are we electing? Stop electing people we like. Elect people that have a track record and experience in doing whatever needs to be done. Now, to the brother's other point, well, you tell us to vote, get excited. Well, here's the reality. At 30%, nobody don't respect nothing you're doing. They're going to take your stuff. They're already taking your stuff, and they're going to keep taking. So at the point is, we have to vote. Yes, we need to do better. We need to educate people better on issues. We need to be economically more inclined, but we must vote. No vote, no action. You don't get to nothing else. So at that point, I know hopefully you can get somebody to something else. So I'd like to hear what you have to say on the back end. But, thank you very much for the time and attention to my call.
All right.
And thank you for the call.
Lord's blessings, Ken. Have a great day. Well, how about that? We're going to take another couple of calls, but what do you think?
I'm thinking back on what Representative Delisha Boyd said. Mm-hmm. Whether you win or not, the number of votes you get in an election will determine the amount of leverage you have either at City Hall or at the state capitol or at the national level, because what people in power understand are numbers. So if she said, if I'm going to the floor to fight for an issue, and they look at my district, and only 15% of my constituents showed up to vote, I have no leverage. I have no leverage. There is nothing that I can do to convince my fellow legislators to side with me on an issue because I have no leverage.
Yep. Yeah, and Jeff Landry was elected with 52% of the vote. Sean Wilson had 26% of the vote, but that's based on 30% of the eligible voters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who didn't vote? Landry's looking and saying, well, they didn't vote.
And the conservatives, I'm talking about the far right conservatives, understand that.
Yep.
They understand how to manipulate those numbers. And what they do is they keep us fighting among each other about, how important voting is and who's not standing up for us, who's not fighting for us, and what leaders aren't worth a dime.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in this dust bowl of conflict, of hostility among each other, while they move ahead with their policy to suppress us.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to the phone line. Good morning, Alicia. You're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm going to have to change my alumni. I'm going to be an honorary Carver Ram.
Go ahead.
Or like Ken. I think Ken is Purple Knight, so I'm going to have to be an honorary so I can get some time on this thing.
Go ahead.
But I'm just going to be quick because they've taken all the time. Norman, you're right for repeating what Representative Alicia Boyd said. I'm blue in the face telling people that same thing. If we don't have the numbers, we can't do anything. So you got to get out there and vote. But Norman, most important, like I saw you the last time, you have got to come back on WBOK and tell your story about the Algiers scandal and how the police had a contract on your life. You need to come and tell that story. Y'all have a great day.
I appreciate that, and I accept that as an invitation, but he's going to have to say yes.
Oh, my.
What do you say?
I don't know. That's a powerful story. There are a lot of people who are.
Well, we can make space for you on the Good Morning Show. I don't know about any other show, but we can. All right, fine. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that off air.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the talk line. Ms. Jones, you're on with Will Sutton and Norman Robinson. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and to the listening audience. I'm going to be quick. Every day throughout the day, the whole population of New Orleans, especially blacks, should be about recruiting people to register to vote. Talk about it every day throughout the day. I mean, we prepare for everything else, second line, partying, and when you have gatherings, talk about it, not just talk about it, but make sure. Bring the papers, bring the application, give them the contact number. This is what needs to be done by all means, because no matter who gets in there, there are about 3 calls back say, well, you don't do anything. Well, you're going to let the worst of worst get in. Hooks or crooks, they're going to take it if you don't do something. Everybody, organizations, individuals, family members, they want you to do favors for them. Okay, you do myself a favor, do yourself a favor. Register to vote, vote, sign a petition. Take better care of yourself and stop being distracted from everything. Look at the priorities. And one last thing, this thing about cursive writing, the next thing they're going to do, they're taking all the printed books out. They're going to have everything written in cursive. Learn cursive. It's not hard. Learn to read in cursive because that'll probably be the next step. Thank you for listening.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jones. Lord's blessings. Have a great day. You're absolutely right.
You too.
All right, great. So we are running out of time here. I want to make sure that you all know this is not the end of the day for WBOK. So coming up next is the front porch right after the Good Morning Show. After that, we've got Tavis Smiley. And after that, we have the reality check with the G-Man, Gerard Stevens. And it's a special day, folks. It's a special day because our very own actor extraordinaire, our New Orleans native, our part owner of WBOK, Wendell Pierce.
Could it be?
Wendell Pierce.
Wendell Pierce?
Wendell
Here,
Pierce.
live
coming
and in
on
person?
the reality check here on WBOK. So if you got some other things to do, stay tuned, but you definitely want to be in tune at 4 p.m. when Gerard Stevens hosts for Conversation Wendell Pierce.
Nothing like the G-Man and Wendell together on the air.
All right, so that's going to be good. All right, it is 9 a.m., and this is WBOK. Warlords willing, I'll be back here tomorrow. But we'll see what he says.
Yes.
All right. Enjoyed your time with us here, Mr. Norman.
Well, thank you. You owe me big. You owe me big time.
All right. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. All